give everybody just a couple minutes to get signed in because we did have some technical difficulty. Okay, I'm getting news that we are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube, so we're going to get this show rolling here in just a second. Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to Longspurs Beyond the Hollow. This is our second episode, and I'm Sean Butler. I'm the owner of Longspur, and proud to be here this evening with you all. And we're going to have an exciting show here in a few minutes. We're going to be talking deer hunting and with Chase Starcher and Chris Ashley. And until we get to there, we're going to be just talking about some things here that have happened over the last week. We're trying to get going here. I hope everybody had a good week out there. It was kind of an interesting week here at headquarters. Last week we tried to get on the air, and during that time period I'm listening to my producer here in one ear telling me we have a blank screen. So if you can hear me, okay, just hold on. Hey, it always happens. You always have some technical difficulties. Nothing wrong with that. It's just we got to get there. There we go. Now we got our technical difficulties figured out. Hey, it's what happens. It's a live show. You can't control it all the time. Things happen. Anyways, I want to tell you about next week coming up, and some of the things that happened here at headquarters this week. We had some pretty good flooding here. Last week at this time, we were looking at several feet of water just out from headquarters here. We had rain just falling by buckets, and it was amazing. We had 7 inches throughout the day. We got 4.7 inches in 35 minutes. Some pretty devastating flooding that happened here in Upshur and Lewis County. It was unprecedented in some places. I mean, it was some pretty bad flooding. Chrissy and I got out, with the Longspur drone services. We got a couple phone calls and some messages that people need help in different areas of the county. We got out and got to see some of the areas that were devastated, got to give a hand to a few people. And, I really wanted to say, while we were out, we had some interactions with West Virginia Division of Highways. Those guys are great. They're out there just working their rear ends off, early mornings, late evenings. I think they're going 7 days a week right now in this state of emergency. But we want everybody in Upshur and Lewis County to know we're thinking of you. We're praying for you. We do have a GoFundMe that's up, and we are running that GoFundMe as long as we need to. We're going to be getting supplies and cash straight into the hands of flood victims, people that really need it. And we're working with we're going to be working with a couple local nonprofits to be doing that. So, we're just amazed what Mother Nature can do. It's very sad. And like I was talking with some of the guys earlier, you know, right now is when the real work is beginning, because the national news is out of here. The local news is just barely uh, mentioned. Um, what's going on. Everybody's leaving out. The politicians are gone. The celebrities are gone. But those of us that are dealing with the flood are still here. And it's every day. And it's going to be every day for some of these people for a long time. There were areas that were just wiped out. Just wiped out. So next week episode, if everything goes well and we don't have any of these flaws in the slaw, so to speak, we're going to start the show out with a couple young men that came up and helped. They're from Kaiser. I believe one of them was from Marietta. I know there was three of them, but I know Nathan Bentley and Caleb Bennett were the driving forces. They gathered supplies. They're a couple young guys. Nathan's a YouTube creator and a Facebook creator, does a lot of fishing over in the Kaiser area. And we're going to try to get them on for just a few minutes next week, just to talk with them about what they saw and what motivated them as just, I mean, these are some young guys to get over here and help people they didn't even know. So they're going to pop in next week and talk with us. We're also going to have John Hockaday from Bloodline Trackers of Longspur and Dallas Furman from over in Gettysburg, PA, with Nighthawk Drone Services. And we're going to go from there. Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are sponsored by GoMart here. GoMart is our sponsor on Longspurs Beyond the Holla. And we are proud to have them. They are a West Virginia company located and based in Gassaway, West Virginia, down in Braxton County. They have stores all over West Virginia and the Ohio Valley over into Ohio. Hey, when you're out, go for good times, go for GoMart. I wanted to say, hey, this week we have been talking a lot on our Facebook page about tracking and hunting as a business. Is it a business? Is it commercialized? And we're going to delve deep into that next week with John and Dallas when they come on. So we had some questions on there. It got a lot of attention. And this is just, I wanted to talk about free tracking and gatekeeping. And just kind of let you know where we come in on that. This, and I just want to clear something up because it's gotten muddy over the last few weeks. We are not against free trackers, never have been. If a guy wants to run his dog for free, watch it work, help a hunter out, that's more power to him. That's honest. That's good for our sport. And it is a sport. But here's what we are against. We're against the guy who advertises free, but there's a required tip. There's a mileage limit. There's a full-time job that limits him to 10 tracks a year or so, and he's unavailable for the rut and for all the phone calls. That's not free. That's a fee wearing a costume. And here's why it matters. When somebody does that, when they hide a paid service behind the word free, they're not just misleading one hunter. They're setting the price of every honest tracker and drone pilot's work in that whole region at zero. New handlers can't break in. New drone pilots can't break in. Working trackers can't compete with a lie. And that animal that needed help to be recovered, sometimes it doesn't get recovered because the phone number everybody's calling isn't actually available. So say it plain. If you're free, be free. No strings. No, I'm working by full time and I'm booked. No suggested tip. But if you've got a business, dogs, drones, fuel, insurance, then charge for it. Stand behind your price. That's not greed when you're asking for a price. That's honesty. Free isn't the enemy here. Nobody that tracks for free is an enemy, but fake free is. Okay? Now, somebody's going to say this. Sean, you're just protecting your own turf. That's gatekeeping too. No, I want to tell you what. I just want to tell you this what gatekeeping actually looks like versus what we do. Gatekeeping is standing in front of a door and making sure nobody else gets to come through that door. That's gatekeeping. What we've done here at Longspur is build a door, and then we teach people how to walk through that door themselves. In the last 6 years, we've mentored over 60 trackers and drone pilots. 60. Not competitors we're trying to shut out. Handlers and drone pilots we brought up ourselves, taught them the dog work, taught them the drone work, and then taught them how to run this as an actual business so they can feed their families in the off season of their other jobs and where they're doing it right. Some of these 60s are running their own operations right now. Some have become mentors themselves to other trackers, to other drone pilots, and they're teaching the next round. And that's the opposite of gatekeeping. That's growing the whole profession on purpose. So when I say fake free tracking hurts the industry, I'm not protecting Longspur. Longspur's fine. We're fine. I'm protecting that 19-year-old kid 3 counties over who just got his first tracking dog or his first drone, trying to figure out if he could actually make this work. You know, hey, it's America. Let's see if he can work. He can't compete with a lie, though. But he can compete with an honest market. And that's the difference. That's the whole point. And I appreciate y'all listening to me go on about that. But that's just something that has been on our mind here. And we're going to talk more in depth about that last week. And I encourage you all, if you are a free tracker or do free services, we'd love to have you on and talk about your experiences and what you know. We've invited a couple and they haven't come on. Well, here I'm going to bring in Chase Starcher and Chris Ashley. Hopefully we can get them in here. There's Chase. I see him. And hopefully we get Chris here in a second. Chris, you still out there? I'm trying to get these two guys on. Having a little trouble here. I don't know what's going on. There I got Chase. And there I have Chris.
Hey, there we go. Yep.
Chase, you got me on sound?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I tell you, this has been one of those evenings we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. As soon as we signed in, Facebook kicked us off. Don't know why, but they kicked us off. So I had to completely shut down and re-sign in. But I want to introduce our guest this evening. You see Chase Starcher here and Chris Ashley. I'll start with Chris. Chris is a content creator from over in Wood County, West Virginia, Mineral Wells area. We've done some collaborations with Chris. I feel he's very seasoned outdoorsman, great guy to have on the podcast. And we're just glad to see your, after watching some of your videos on your pages, that you're still live, Chris.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the joy that we're doing with my wife and stuff, and of course our normal content as well. Yeah.
Right. And I love the mix that you have going on with some of the humor and stuff. I mean, it just makes it enjoyable. Makes it enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And then I want to introduce Chase Starcher. Chase is you're down near Kenna, is where you're at?
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
right on the Jackson County, Putnam County line.
Jackson County, Putnam County line here in West Virginia. Chase is my right hand man on Longspur Sky Dogs. And Chase, for being a young guy, as an accomplished hunter, you're into managing good deer where you can.
Yeah.
And that's going to be our topic and you're also one of our drone pilots. Chase gets out there, does some recoveries for us, and we appreciate his hard work for Longspur. But we're just going to have a roundtable discussion this evening. One of the things I want to talk to and start with Chris is I know you killed a couple good bucks last year, and your hunting style may differ from a lot of West Virginians anymore since baiting is legal in West Virginia. A lot of people bait, but you do not hunt over bait, do you?
No, no, I don't. Nope.
Okay.
No,
And
and like you said, that's just a different approach.
right, right. And not you know, in West Virginia and Ohio, it's legal. In Pennsylvania, it's not. Um, but here in West Virginia, we do have a few areas where you cannot bait because they're CWD counties. And we just wanted to talk about some of your approach to that, some of your setups. How do you attract deer? Are you relying more on a lot of preseason scouting, trail cameras? Do you hunt the natural mast? I mean, tell us what you do.
hmm I mean, pretty much all the above. I mean, you know too as well. One of the big things I am into is food plot. Doing food plots, which people would sit there and say that that's a form of attraction or bait, and I won't argue with that. I don't view it the same as sitting over a feeder or a corn pile. But yeah, my biggest thing is the normal that you would. We talked about it earlier is scrapes.
Right.
Pinches, travel corridors, the same thing too, in between bedding and food, and trying to hunt downwind of a lot of those bedding areas and stuff. And that's exactly how I was able to harvest that buck last year. Was I got on a set of scrapes and knew he was in the close bedding area. Put my time in, and he ended up pushing a doe and some other bucks into that area and locked down with her for the whole day. And I was able to make the harvest. But just the normal kind of thing of you just think about. And the other big one too is water, food, water, cover. Those are all the things that I'm looking at and I'm focusing on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Chase, I know some of your history. You've been really big into mock scrapes
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what kind of areas are you looking to set mock scrapes? Um, what products do you use? What's your technique to set a mock scrape?
So I treat mock scrapes just like you would treat trapping for coon or possum, coyote, anything like that. It's all in the setup. I see. I like to focus on pinch points, low gaps, uh, anywhere there's a water source. Field edges are really good. Travel corridors that intersect. I really like the second flat down from the top of an oak ridge. I found a good bench there, especially if it has a good southwest point with the
Okay.
sun hits on that side. I really like that. Anywhere a mature buck likes to travel, and I've gone to rope in the past few years. Um, Smokies ropes, stuff like that, deer wicks, stuff like that. That I really like. Something that lasts a little bit longer than a traditional licking branch, because to me, a licking branch is what makes or breaks a mock scrape.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
hmm
if you don't have that licking branch, you really don't have a scrape. I mean, that's part of that. You know, signaling that they do is they're rubbing those eyes and forehead glands and preorbital and letting those other deer know what's going on. So if you don't have a licking branch, it's tough. Um, Chris, I mean, do you use very many mock scrapes yourself?
Yeah, and what I also do is I'll try to freshen up already standard existing or community scrapes as well. And
Right.
one of the things I'll do ropes, but I also will do grapevines. And then I'll also, if I don't have a limb, I can set up a post where I want, but sometimes I'll also go down and pull and rope tie limbs down, or I've also went and tied limbs into a tree to specifically give a licking branch where I want. So absolutely, I'm a big believer and user of scrapes.
Okay. Yeah, over the last few years, I've really gotten into it with the mock scrapes. I mean, we just never know in this day and age um, when certain techniques like feeding or supplemental feeding could be taken away because of CWD. I mean,
Mhm.
that's going to be a whole nother show about what I agree and what I don't agree with CWD management. But at this point in West Virginia, when you have a CWD positive, you automatically go into CWD protocol, and so do the neighboring counties. So, Pendleton County right now is a neighboring county. So if they get a positive case, then you're looking at Randolph County going into the CWD protocol. And then if Randolph County gets a positive, and then it would be Upshur County here would be in the CWD protocol. So one of the things we've shifted to has been mock scrapes and I use Smokies. I've used other type of uh, scrape material out there, but I've always had good luck with Smokies Wicked Wicks. I mean, there we go. Smokies Wicked Wicks.
Mhm.
That's just his patented compound. It's always worked good for me. Works good across the country, and really good product. Um, I mean, how I know Chase just said it was similar to trapping, but over the years with trapping, one of the things I've learned, I try to m- lower my scent profile while I'm trapping. Do you do that when you scent your mock scrapes, Chase?
Yeah, I mean, just like anyone else with if you're targeting mature deer, you want to
Mm-hmm.
limit your scent profile in and out of the woods as much as possible anyway. So when I hang ropes or grapevine too, I always wear rubber or latex gloves, something like that, to not get my scent all over the rope. Um,
Okay.
and then whenever I, peel the grass back or expose dirt, I try not to walk through it very much or anything like that. If I cut any branches or clear anything out of the way to help, give that better presentation, I don't throw them in the immediate area. I don't like to drop them 3 feet from where you're going to set your scrape up because I just feel like that kind of impacts
Right.
your area.
Okay. Chris, same way? I mean, do you look like a surgeon when you're out there setting a
I'm
mock
not as
scrape?
extreme as that. No.
Okay. Okay.
Nope. I mean, for me, a lot of times with it, I I don't go as extreme now. Like when I am hunting, let's say, or even when I'm out, I will walk around and avoid walking through the scrape. But I'm not that concerned about the limbs touching stuff. Now I will when I remove limbs the same way whenever I'm making shooting lanes. I'm doing it mainly to get away from the attraction of just eye catching of these are dead dying leaves as compared to normal green grown brush, and I'll
Right.
take them away and move them away. But I'm not as critical over it, and I've had where they just come right in and hit it immediately after.
Right. Right. One of the things as a tracker I've noticed over time, and I'll tell you about this, and I'm sure if this gentleman's watching, um, actually, we got some chats coming in. I'll have to take a look at some of those here in a minute. But somebody, we just had somebody ask, what do you guys think is the best trail cam out there? And then I'll go into my story.
Card or cellular?
Yeah. Hey, either one. What do you think?
For me again, and I'm affiliated. I'm a big believer in the stealth, or I mean, from card cameras, I like using some of the stealths. Let's say,
Right.
also to the Brownings, actually, from a card camera standpoint, cellular Tacticam Reveal for me is my big one, especially with
What?
some of the new cameras and stuff they've come out.
Right. What do you like putting on a mock scrape? Where you getting a little action there? Do you like putting a
As far
cell
as
camera?
camera, it for me it actually depends. I mean, we're a lot of us are West Virginia, so a lot of the areas or some of the areas I struggle to get cell service down in the big bottoms. So that's where I still value the card cameras. It just depends my preference. Anywhere I can put a cell camera, I'm setting it up on those scrapes. And when I can't, I'm throwing card cameras, and that's what I've been doing lately. Here is really stacking up scrapes right now.
That's awesome. Chase, what do you think?
I'm not affiliated, but I also run a fleet of Tactacam reveals.
There you go.
Yeah, I run a lot of mine on a 12-volt battery though as well.
You do? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I do have one
Same.
Tacticam here, and I've got it set up on a solar panel, and I actually like that. That's a pretty good setup. So, Roger, I hope that's answers your question on that. What I was going to, you were talking about scent around a scrape, and as a tracker, one time I was tracking in Wetzel County, and the hunter asked us if we had ever sprayed our dogs down to knock down the scent before we went into a buck's bedding area to track him. And, I told him, no, that's something we usually don't do. And if it bothered him, I could stay out of there. We didn't necessarily have to track, if he wanted to just he said, no, go ahead and do the track. So we tracked, and as we were walking out, he just started yelling because Jesse, my dog, went right through a scrape that he had a cell camera on. And he was like, oh my gosh, that just ruined that. That just ruined that. We get to the top of the hill 15 minutes later, one of his target bucks was working that scrape. So, yes, there is a level of scent we have to be careful of, but then you also have to realize there is a level of scent that these mature bucks do realize there's dogs in the woods, there's coyotes in the woods, and they live with them.
Yep.
So don't freak out.
My thing is on my properties with all the habitat work and activity I have, they are, I think, somewhat accustomed a little bit to the human scent. And so
Yes.
I'm constantly on and around my properties. It's not one of those that it's like, hey, I only come in during hunting season and hunt, and then I'm out of there. I'm routinely on the property. As I get close to season, I'll back out, but they're used to me being in and out of there.
Right. Well, that was another.
Oh, one thing I would note too, Sean, you mentioned scrapes. Oh, I was going to say, you mentioned scrapes earlier and the CWD and baiting and stuff. One thing to stress too is in West Virginia, you're not allowed to bait on public land. And that's
Right.
also another critical, way or method a lot of public land hunters can also be utilizing to try to focus or key in on deer.
Yes, I mean, Chase. I mean, when you go in and set up scrapes and refresh scrapes, I mean, you can probably carry enough stuff to do 20 sites in a backpack.
Yeah. And I think one reason that I do, back to the glove thing, Smokey's ropes come pre-moistened.
Yes.
With a scent, and that's one of the reasons I prefer the gloves too.
Yes.
And I feel like because of that pre-moistened scent on that rope, it picks up a lot faster because the moisture in the air and stuff like that really helps that scent travel.
Yeah. How this is a question from one of our viewers. How often are you guys refreshing any of the scrapes without over scenting the area? I mean, we're on the scent talk here right now, but it's going to be interesting to see what you all say because I have my own theory on mock scrapes. But Chase, you want to hit this one first?
Yeah, personally, it just depends on how much activity I'm seeing on that scrape.
Right.
If it's been sitting for, say, if I'm putting one out in September, August, and comes middle of October and I haven't seen much activity, I'm definitely going to make it a point to go back and try to reactivate that scrape. But if I'm seeing deer hit it every day, there's really no need for me personally once it gets going, unless I intend to hunt that scrape and say I hunt it one day and I drop by it, maybe I want to freshen it up. But I'm not going to go intrude in that area, especially during the rut, just to refresh a scrape.
Right. Chris, I mean, you along the same lines there?
For me, anytime I'm walking by it, I'm freshening it up.
Okay.
But I'm freshening it up with my own personal application, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I got you. So, and that's the thing that, as an old trapper here, we always said urine is urine, so it doesn't matter what
I've
it is.
started many that way.
Yeah. So,
yep.
I do like to use the old Smokies Ruttenbuck. That's kind of my favorite urine there to use. But yeah, when if you're short-handed, you know, there you go. There you go.
And
Yeah, I mean,
Sean,
in honesty, to me, I'm creating just that idea that there's a different deer in the area that they're
Right.
not familiar with and that they have a tendency to check it out. And I'm carrying it around with me no matter where I go. So,
Right. You're
yeah,
the you're the you you're the different stud buck there, Chris. I tell you.
just don't want to chase them off.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir. My theory is, I mean, you know, once those bucks take over that scrape, I don't have to do much to it. But like you say, if I want to get a reaction,
Mhm.
I'm going to go in there and try to make it smell different than all the local bucks. But
Yep.
yeah, I'll set mock scrapes here in July, and once those deer start taking them over, I want them just to have those until pre-rut. They're theirs. I don't go back in that area unless I'm just, as you said, don't have cell service and have to put a card camera on a scrape. That's going to be my little
Yep, pulling the
entry.
card out.
Yep, just pulling the card out. One of the things I see guys going in and doing is just like lighting an area up. I see them throwing deer urine up in the tree on the licking branch, you know, and then putting a preorbital on the ground, and it just makes me go, as a biologist, like shake my head a little bit, because we know one of the things I've always taught in seminars is, you know, all your gland lures go high and your urine lures go low. Do you all ever mix it up? I mean, I've seen some guys doing that now, but I mean, I guess it could work. I don't know, but I have pretty good luck doing it the way I do it.
no,
I'm traditional like you.
right there with you.
Okay, good. Of course, you never know what you're going to see on YouTube. Just never know. I mean, you see it.
I think that's a lot of that too. You see now is people are doing that for reactions, you know, to get that content.
I think so too. Awesome. One of the things, do y'all ever use any drippers at scrapes?
I don't know.
I do.
Yeah, that's been a pretty good staple of mine over the years. Is you know, I've had really good luck with wildlife research drippers. Now, I don't use the wildlife research stuff in the dripper all the time. I mean, they almost all come with a bottle, so you almost feel like you got to use it. I'm not going to throw it away by any means, but I'm telling you, just getting back, I use Smoky's Buck Drip. I don't know if you all have ever used that. That is some of the best scrape dripper juice out there. And that's one way I can refresh a scrape without having to go back to it over and over and over. And as Chris said, presenting that different deer smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I
Yep,
mean,
I do
that's
the same. Yep, with the dripper.
Okay. Chase, I mean, do you use any bait products at all in your hunting?
I do some. It just depends. It
Okay.
also depends on how the mash year is,
Right.
as well. So, because I
Right.
mean, you know as well as I do, a lot of times when those white oaks hit well, they'll walk right over corn to get to them.
Right. I mean, last year was one of those years, and as we saw in West Virginia, the kill was down 30%. Now, some of that had to do with Chris's area over there with the EHD, but overall in the state, the kill was down 30%, which is, I mean, you know, like you said, Chase, they'll walk over corn to get to a white oak tree and a white oak patch. And so far, what I'm seeing this year is we're not going to have a very good mass crop in West Virginia. So that's going to tend to probably number one, opening weekend, those guys that do pre-bait and set over that, we're going to get a lot of calls from those guys over opening weekend, because I figure target deer are going to be hitting the bait piles like crazy.
Yeah, and we've had a pretty wet year this year compared to the last couple of years too.
Yeah, so far, yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt, without a doubt. Chris, I mean, let's get to like your preferred. Where is your favorite? I mean, just like your favorite preferred stand placement on whitetails, and let's just say in a hardwood environment. I mean,
I think it depends. I mean, one of the things that I'm really keying in on is trying to get between two thickets or bedding areas.
Right.
The perfect for me is to locate a scrape in between is one of the things that I really like to set up on is to have that combination. Chase mentioned it earlier, and that's the same thing I focus on putting scrapes and also just setting up on is where I have a lot of intersecting trails. Naturally, I'm generally going to find a scrape there, and that's going to tend to have either from bedding to food or bedding to bedding.
Right.
So it just depends. At the same time, it might be a water source. You mentioned it a second ago. It's been very wet. However, last year, whenever I was keying in on that one buck, it was dead dry, and I was like, "Where are you watering?" Found a water hole, set the camera up on it, and boom! Immediately that evening, I had him on camera. Problem was, is it rained from days on right after that, and then the water wasn't as critical. So I think it depends on what's going on in your area and where.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you here. We have these great, just awesome bottom hay fields that are just stacked with clover right now. And in another month, as they start cutting those for second cutting hay, our deer move up in elevation, which is a great thing for us because we don't own any of the bottoms, so they move up on the properties we have. Um, I know from Chase earlier, you were saying that first and second flat down from the ridge
Yeah.
on a hardwood system, you have pretty good luck. I know I do on the flat right below the ridge. That's just like a thermal zone for mature bucks. That's where they want to work. It seems like they'll work out one side of a hill in the morning and then out the backside of that mountain in the evening, or vice versa, working that thermal zone.
Right. Especially if that bench happens to have a steep draw in it. I feel like that really
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, and that, as you know, from where you're at up to here, there's a lot of steep draws.
Yeah.
Those benches all seem to end in a steep draw or
Right.
through one.
But they're
So
all not created the same. It's
no,
you gotta find the right one.
that's right. Um, Scent elimination products, pros, cons. You use them? Do you not use them, Chris?
I do. Yeah. So, I am using ScentLock. Now, one thing, and I'll do the same thing. For me, I'll go through preseason, go through my whole, you know, scent elimination procedure of all my stuff, my backpack, my clothes, you name it. I'll go ahead and do refreshes or recharges through the season. I spray down religiously before I go in and out. I am not one that uses ozone typically, just from the fact of, I'm familiar with it and I know that elastomeric material will break down when exposed to ozone. And I'm not someone that wants to constantly buy new clothes to where it loses that elasticity. So I don't really use the ozone products as well.
Okay. Chase, where are you at on that?
See, I do run some ozone. I have an ozone closet, but it's not something that I use in the tree, or it's not something that I use every day like a lot of people. I just occasionally will hit it maybe once every 10 days. It depends also on what time of the year, if you're sweating heavily or anything like that. But I don't use any spray anymore since I started using that, and I've seen the same, if not better, luck.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I as a
What about you,
young,
Sean?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. When I was a young hunter, there about 20 years ago, man, I was religiously into scent elimination products. I found I was putting more time into overthinking that than I was trying to outthink the mature buck. Okay. So now I really play the wind a lot. And I've really noticed as a
Always.
tracker when I started tracking a lot, I paid more attention to thermals, how wind moves, and trying to figure out how to set up on a deer on like that, more than I do using products. Um, do I carry scent elimination spray with me to the stand? Yes, I do. I mean, early season around here it can be 75 degrees, and by the time you get up and get in a stand or even a saddle, heck, I've started using a saddle. This old guy climbs up and gets in a saddle. Um, sometimes it doesn't hurt to spray down. I mean, but I'm not the biggest believer in them. But I don't bash anybody that is. So
Hmm.
Have either
yeah,
of you ever smoked your clothes? I know some old guys have talked about that before. Especially if you're in an area that burns a lot of wood, smoking their clothes over fires. I've known a lot of guys have done that too.
I not on purpose.
I haven't smoked my clothes, but one of the things I used to do was I would carry a lot of like dry leaves, put them in a tote, put them in a bag, and
Yes.
I'd put my clothes in there along with some dirt or soil, and have that in there just as a general oaky, woodsy kind of scent for some of my clothes.
One of my favorite cover scents is along the lines Chris is saying is keeping. I like to keep walnut hulls in the bottom of my totes.
Hmm.
I mean that smell is um, very distinctive, and we have a lot of walnut here in this area, so it's not like oh gosh, I smell a walnut. Never smelled it before. Our deer are used to it, so
Mhm. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of that comes back, like Chris was talking earlier, with the
Same way with pine.
being on your property and conditioning deer.
yeah. Oh yeah, and hey, deer can condition. I mean, you can condition a deer, and they can learn your habits as much as you learn theirs. I mean,
Hmm.
we do supplemental feed here,
Yep.
and hey, and I'm not gonna lie, I jump in a blind every once in a while over where we feed at just because of time factor. But those deer know, those mature bucks know when I put out feed or mineral in an area. Right now, we're not doing, but maybe just a couple little cupfuls of feed. I mean, there's no use to do it with the bears just roaming around like crazy. So we're just basically mineral, just going real heavy on mineral right now. But those bucks, they hear the side by side, and they're like, okay, 4 hours after he's gone, I can show up and I'm safe. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We used to have a four-wheeler that had the baffles blown out of it.
Yeah.
And when we would feed in the off season, we would dump it out, drive up and around the hill and get up above them. And by the time we'd get up above them and look down, they were already on it. I mean, they knew that was the dinner bell.
Right. Uh, I'm going to see if I can do this. This Jordan Hubler, he said, I started using the
Oh
scent
yeah.
blender. I'll blend stuff up that's in the area I'm hunting and spray myself in my stand. I could see that. I mean that's pretty good, Jordan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, have either one of you ever used it?
I've not, but I've seen it before at
Right.
trade shows and
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Seen it,
know.
haven't used it.
Camo. What's your thoughts on camo? I'll always love to ask that question.
Chris, go ahead.
Uh, for me, I mean, it just depends. I mean, you talk about it when you said you were younger and all the change and different things and your mindset. To me, that's like camouflage, I think, has really come a long ways. I won't say that the camo patterns are all that much different, but the general technology of the warmth associated with what a lot of these new brands of camo with your base layers and stuff. For me, again, I'm using ScentLock, and then it just depends on the season as you go through. It's kind of like the tree stands. My season changes, the camo changes as the season progresses from going lightweight, heavyweight, midweight as we go. But that's
Right.
what I normally use as a real tree extra kind of camo pattern.
Okay. Chase, what are
So
your
I've
thoughts on?
the past few years I've been using a lot of First Light products, that
Yeah.
Spectre pattern, and I like it just because the
Hmm.
versatility. A lot of it's engineered towards saddle hunting, so I pack a lot of my clothes in if I have a long hike, and then I will get dressed at the bottom of the tree essentially, and it makes it easier with their layering system to reduce bulk but still have enough warmth and
Huh.
packability to get through those late season hunts.
I think that's one of the things I try to keep an open mind because once again, I'm an old guy. I like wool, but
Hmm.
wool is bulky.
Yes.
And when I mean, that saddle doesn't like bulkiness.
But I will add, if I'm in a ground blind, I do wear a black top,
Yeah,
to blend in with your background on that.
right. Yeah, that the black the black revolution in the ground blinds is a real deal. I mean, they look right through you.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, to me,
If
the
you
selling
had,
point, especially with turkeys.
oh yes, turkeys in particular, great. If you have black on, they're not seeing you in a blind. Um,
Hmm.
Chris, I know you hunt Ohio also,
Hmm.
and you were over in. I mean, is your property, is it Washington County or Athens County area?
Both. So I've got,
Both.
you know, um, permission in Washington County and then private in Athens County.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm wanting to do, we introduced you earlier. You're from over in the Mineral Wells area, which was ground zero for EHD last fall
Yeah.
in West Virginia, summer and fall, because we started getting reported deaths in June of last year in Ohio around Vito Lake area. That
Yeah.
seemed to be
Yeah.
ground zero. Yeah. Um, how's it looking this year?
So at least here in Wood County, I'm actually pretty surprised in a good way. Of
Okay.
course, one of the things, we were talking about it, I shared it there on Facebook that, even by chance, I had started feeding high protein supplemental feed there about this time, if not earlier, maybe June,
Mm-hmm.
before EHD really started hitting in our area. My opinion, right or wrong, without any kind of statistical data to go against it, I felt like the deer in that immediate area, um, I think they seemed to handle it better than the surrounding area did. And to me, I think that's showing this year that I'm seeing a lot of deer that have made it. So it's not something for people to sit here and just say, okay, now we can go ahead and just start hunting and shooting anything again. But the recovery is good. We're seeing good numbers here, even around the house. Last year I was only seeing like 1 or 2 deer. The numbers are a lot better here, hitting my food plots and in the area. I mentioned at the one place I've probably had close to 1,000 pounds of those Antler King protein tubs consumed since
Oh,
this
wow.
time last year, that they are just flat out hammering it. Ohio, same thing, good bounce back, good recovery. But again, both of these places, I completely did not hunt Wood County or any of my Ohio properties last year with
Right.
the intention of trying to let deer get through and see where they come out this year. Numbers are good over in Ohio as well, bouncing back, and so it's just going to take some time and still people being smart.
Right. And I know West Virginia did not lower the antlerless bag limit in Wood County. They left it at three. And I mean, I had a talk with the Brett Skelly, who's in charge of the West Virginia Deer Program, and he said that they wanted landowners to do their own managing over in that area. Of course, my argument with him was,
Hmm.
then why do we have any counties that have a one doe limit then? Just let landowners manage over the whole state. But I'm kind of, maybe I'm too argumentative. I don't know, but yeah, that's an important thing people need to watch out for. Just because you might be seeing some deer this year, don't go out and wipe them out this fall. Be very critical of your deer management plan on your property.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was shocked the number of people that still hunted these EHD hit areas last year,
Mm-hmm.
with even the numbers that they were reporting that were being found on their properties. And
Right.
those were ones that I really thought would be the conservationists out there. So
Right.
I'm hoping that still this year that people realize, hey, maybe use that as an opportunity to say, I'm going to try maybe a true mature deer, but these still 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 year old deer, we need to still let them walk.
Right. And those are the ones that are probably carrying around some immunity. Just say, I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
Chase, one of the topics I wanted to hit on real quick, you know what, last year was West Virginia's first year for legal drone recovery. Um, can you just kind of give us a quick rundown of what some of your experiences were? I know we're kind of bouncing, but um, I this will make sense here in a minute because we're going to go to Chris because he had an experience last year. So, Chase, I'll
Okay.
let you take the floor
Mhm.
there.
So overall, last year I think it was a pretty positive experience as a whole for the state. Obviously, there's stuff that the state needs to work on, and we've been helping push some of that stuff. And it's going to be a learning process the next couple of years because you look at other states like Ohio and such, and we're just not there yet. Um,
Right.
it was kind of an influx and a flood of pilots all of a sudden to the area because everybody saw, whether it was YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Hey, I can spend however much money and buy a drone and go out and find deer. But we're starting to
Right.
learn, and educate that the, there are limitations, just like anything else. It's a tool, especially those early seasons till you get to late October, early November. And last year, especially, we had a long green up. I mean, the foliage on the trees stayed up until first, second week of November, and that really put a damper on things for a lot of people with drones.
Right. I mean, we did have a lot of people request drones early on, and we just we tried to talk common sense into them, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think a big thing is too, especially if anybody's looking for a drone pilot, is or wanting to be a drone pilot as well, is it's not flying the drone. That's what I tell everybody. It's not flying the drone. That's not the hard part. I can teach somebody to fly a drone in 15 minutes. It's
right,
understanding how deer move, especially when wounded, and how to read the thermal signatures and find those little gaps. Because, you know, for example, right now, if you went out, you might have to circle an area 7 or 8 times and hit different layers and find those gaps, especially if they have a good mixture of new and old growth timber, because you get those
yeah,
layers, of different leaves, and you have to really find that signature. And it could just be a blink of an eye and you miss it. So
exactly.
that really separates a lot of people, I believe. But overall, it was a good rookie season, I guess, for the state. I think it'll be great when we pick some more stuff up, get the ball rolling a little bit.
Right, and I think if we get a normal fall where we have leaf off, about second or third week of October instead of the second week of November up until the third week of November. I mean, we had some areas in southern West Virginia you just couldn't fly even up the week of Thanksgiving last year. It's pretty tough.
Right, and I think now that everybody's realizing it's not the magic cure-all, and I can launch this drone in 5 minutes, I'm going to find this deer regardless. That you got to take the good with the bad, just like anything else.
Right. Now, Chris, you actually had one of our Longspur drone pilots come out um, last year, Cadrick Zirkle, on your West Virginia deer,
Yep.
uh, and
Yep.
you ended up. I mean, you sent me the video if I remember everything correctly, and I said, "Oh, I think he's gonna be dead, but it's right there. I mean, it could 1 inch one way, one
How
inch,
long?
and then
Yeah.
yeah, how
Yeah.
long we gonna wait?" And
Mhm.
with a dog, I would have told you I'll see you in the morning. That would have been the wait time. I'll just see
I
you in the
agree.
morning. Um, but you had a pretty good experience with the drone. You could tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So, and I think it's situational. Chase was kind of, I think, alluding to it as well. For me, I got down my eyes from the shot, which I'm sure you guys are used to hearing that from the hunter. They'd be like, "Oh, I 10 ringed him," and next thing you know, it's like, "Dude, I'm making this up. You hit it in the leg." That's an extreme. But in my case, I thought I think I double lunged this deer, and then eventually I went reviewed my footage, and I'm like, okay, I think I center punched this deer, and I hit the deer back. I saw that I end up a friend pointed it out that I'd ricocheted off of a limb and hit him pretty much, so I thought, center mass. And so, as you said, Sean, we talked about it, and I think liver, because as I got down and started tracking the blood, I'm like, this is not what I thought it was. And I
Mhm.
made sure that I didn't go far because, you always hear that saying, when in doubt, back it out. Well, that's exactly what I did. Is I went to a point to where I was like, I haven't bumped the deer. We've talked about it. if it's dead now, it'll be dead in 3 or 4 hours or
Right.
however long. And it was not a deer I was willing to risk. So I went out, immediately got cell service, reached out to you, and I personally said I want a drone. In this situation, my opinion was kind of like you of I don't want to run the risk potentially with a dog bumping it and getting off the property. And so, hey, let's bring in the drone. Cadrick was great. You hooked me up immediately, got him to come in. We went out, and it's one of those that isn't always the case. That brought the drone up, spun it around, and immediately I'm just like, what's that right there? And so was able to fly over. Now in this situation, what was interesting is we went over, and when we came down on him, he was bedded, but he tried to get up and fell over. And immediately we got the drone up out of the way a little bit because we thought it was stirring him a little. Did a scan of the immediate area for about 2 or 3 minutes, came back to him, checked him, and he was laid over on his side, and that was his last lunge, and he was expired. And that was about, I think, 4 hours after the shot. And then that's when we come to find out that I had livered him.
Wow. Yeah. And as we know, that liver is a tricky place. They can be dead pretty quick, or it can take a little time, depending on what
Yeah.
you hit inside that liver.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Chris, I mean, what are you thinking this fall? You gonna have a good season this year? You gonna be getting on them?
I'm excited. I try every year. There's never any guarantee. I'm always dealing with a lot of neighboring hunting pressure on any of our properties. I think everyone knows that we take a lot of pride in the work that we do on our place. We try to make sure and harvest only mature deer, so they tend to seek sanctuary in our area. I think I have some opportunities, definitely in West Virginia and in Ohio this year that's got me really excited. Hopefully one of the
Awesome.
kids is able to tag out on one of them. That would be great. I'd rather it be them than me right now. But yeah, I'm excited. How about you guys?
Yeah, Chase, how's it looking your way?
I think it's looking good. My prediction for this fall is I don't think we're going to see the harvest numbers quite back to where we're used to seeing them, but I do believe we will see a lot of big deer hit the ground. Just for the simple fact that especially places where EHD was pretty bad last year, those 3 and 4 year olds that did make it through, there was a lot less competition this winter for
Yes.
foraging and stuff like that. So I think those deer will get a chance to really blow up this year.
Here's a couple bucks I'm going to show you from here at headquarters. And we had a slew of 2.5-year-old deer last year and a few 3.5-year-olds. And my tracking schedule didn't allow me to really get after him. But this was one I was really watching, and then he broke a G2 off. And that was a pretty good one. And then those of you that followed the saga on Facebook throughout the fall last year, we have a small property, and usually the 3.5-year-old deer is all that tops out on there. It's mostly field. It's 50 acres. A lot of people road hunt up the side of it, and this old boy here, I was hunting him last year as a 3.5-year-old. Well, he's really blown up. He made it through. He's sticking his tongue out at me, but we'll see how we do on it this year. Now, I do have to counter a little bit, Chris. I do have to mention we are proud users of PNR Whitetail Supreme here. Roger and Sheila here at Buchanan, West Virginia, they make a great product, and we've had good luck with it. But I'm a wildlife, great people. I'm a wildlife biologist. I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't feed your deer. I'm going to tell you feed your deer. I believe supplemental feeding helps. Pick a great product with a good level of protein and get it in them. We're seeing great results on our end. We didn't get hit with EHD last year. Luckily the frost hit, and some of the reports were 8 miles away from headquarters here. So we were close, but didn't get it. So we're watching. We're wanting our deer to be as healthy as they can be, if something happens. guys, you have anything else you want to add going into this fall? Chris, any big projects you're working on? You got any hunts coming out on YouTube or anything?
No, I don't think I have any hunts. Just, I've been doing a lot of habitat. And again, right now, the big thing for me is I started this past weekend of starting to get the plots prepped so that, I get them mowed down and get them ready to spray in the next week or so, give them some time to die off, hit them with a second spraying if I have to, and then start getting the fall plots in. And then here lately too, been trying to get stands set, shooting lanes done, trying to get caught up the best I can. Need to get to shooting the bow more. That's
Right.
some of the big things. But one thing I will say right before, compared to you guys, our feedback in the immediate area here is we're seeing a big acorn crop.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Chase, how about your way
So
down
maybe a little
there?
bit different, but we've had that.
I think it's just really depends on where you're at, honestly. I've talked to some people and they've said, yeah, it's hitting pretty heavy. And I've talked to people and it said it's scarce. And I've also heard that some that they've already hit the ground that are rotten,
Right.
So,
Well, here at our elevation, we just had frost all the way up till the first, through the first couple weeks of May. I don't know how we're going to have much of a acorn crop you know, after what we had last year. My goodness, that was amazing.
we did have an early spring here, though. I will say we did, it was pretty warm, pretty early, had a really early green up in this part of the state.
Right. Right. Chase, have you been utilizing your tick drop?
I did today. I did at work. I
did
felt
too.
one crawling up my arm and found him and threw him in there.
There we go. I filled that one up today on dog tracks.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was almost instant too. I was really.
And I tell you,
really
they've been
surprised.
bad this year.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us can hold a candle to what Master Tracker Jared McKinney went through. I wish I had to save that picture here for tonight's show, but
He can have them.
he literally, Chris, literally had probably 200 ticks around the tops of his socks on each leg. Yeah.
I saw that post, I think, on Facebook, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
it was horrible. I mean,
it wasn't good.
What shocked me was that I believe he said he only had 3 that were attached, though, out of all
Right.
those ticks, which was pretty crazy.
I wondered.
Right.
What's his area?
He's in Meigs,
Eastern Ohio.
Yeah, Meigs County.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, we're close to Meigs.
Right. So you could be into that, but of course, with a lower deer population, I would hope that the tick population would start lowering a little bit. Now, from a
Now, one thing I will tell you that was interesting is that a friend of mine, they sent me a photo and they had a young buck in their yard that the bases of their velvet antlers were just loaded with ticks here in Parkersburg.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, people don't think of that, but those velvet antlers are nothing but a blood factory. So ticks will attach to them. That's where midges love to bite deer. Deer flies just soak them. But one of the things I did want to mention real quick, we've been talking about Smokey's products real quick or earlier in the thing, and you can get those at whitetaildeertracking.com. That's our website. We are proud to be Smokey's only West Virginia dealer. So whitetaildeertracking.com. You can order them anywhere in the country. Get your mock scrape set up. It's time. It's time. We were out today putting them up. Definitely want to get them out there and get them rolling. Get in the deer woods and get those kids in the deer woods. That's for sure. Turkeys. Y'all seeing any poults in your areas?
5 is all I've seen. That's the most I've seen with one hen this year is 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're seeing poults in West Virginia and Ohio and a lot of jakes.
Well, that's good. 2-year-olds make the world go around. So You should have a good spring next year. Yeah. I thought
I hope so.
you two were trying to get hooked up and go turkey hunting last spring, weren't you?
Yeah, we had some
Yep.
scheduling conflicts.
I wanted to, yeah.
There you go.
Maybe
Yep.
this spring we can set something up for next spring. We'll definitely.
Okay. Do you,
I'd like
you
to.
guys got anything else you want to add today?
Just appreciate you having me on.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Chris.
We just look forward to having a good year here, and I think we're going to have a good fall in a whole as everybody in the state. So
There we go. I'm hoping that everybody stays safe out there, and yeah, that we have a great fall. We get after some deer, get to go track some deer, or go fly and look for some deer. And hope you guys have a good, successful fall. And I appreciate you all coming on this evening.
thanks for having me.
Thanks. You too, Sean.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys. Once again, this is Longspurs Beyond the Holler. And every once in a while, we do get out of the holler. I do want to do a little housekeeping here real quick before I get off of here. Like I said, next week, we have a pretty good show lined up. Our main guest is going to be John Hockaday from Bloodline Trackers. He's a Longspur master tracker up in Fort Ashby, West Virginia. And then we're going to be stepping out of the Longspur family and talking with Dallas Furman of Nighthawk Drone Services over in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Dallas is big into pet recovery, but he's also a big-time bow shooter. He used to work for Lancaster Archery and is doing deer recovery. And who knows? Who knows? He might be wearing that Longspur hat before long. But we're going to kick off the show talking, and we're still trying to get it hooked up with Nathan Bentley and his buddies. I know Caleb Bennett. I know he had another buddy with him. Nathan's from over in the Kaiser area. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, which I wanted to do it again here because I know the beginning was kind of messed up. But Nathan's a young man. He's a YouTube and Facebook creator, influencer. He does a lot of fishing. I was on his page. He had some huge trout over in that North Branch of the Potomac area. But Nathan loaded down his pickup truck with water, chainsaw, and supplies and just came to Buchanan to help out. And he did one round and then went back and got his buddies and came back on another round. And they actually hiked in, opened up a road, and assisted the Mountain Mission Mules guys from North Carolina into an area that we tried to direct them towards that we had visited the day before. So it's going to be interesting talking to those young guys. I just want to kind of pick their brain and see what motivated them just to come help strangers in an area that's not their area. I mean, we know people will help their neighbor once in a while, but man, when you travel 3 hours to help your neighbor, that's pretty amazing, especially for somebody, I'm just guessing that Nathan's in his early 20s, just looking at him on Facebook there. So, but we're going to open the show talking to them. And August 12th, right now we have Walt Allen from Big Buck Down Recovery of Longspur over in your area, Chris. I think you know Walt. And we're trying to line up a couple other guests on that day. And then August 19th, as of right now, we're going to have Josh Duncan on. Josh is the owner of the General. I see Chase is sitting in front of a General painting. There you go. That you won in a contest. But Josh Duncan is the owner of the General. He's going to appear on here, and we're just going to chat with him. And by that time, episode 2 of his 3-part documentary will be out about the General. And maybe we can catch up on episode 1 and episode 2 while Josh is here. So that's what we got going on. If you're interested and you got some stories you want to tell, tracking, outdoors, fishing, hunting, just anything interesting even. I mean, we delve into a little bit everything here on Longspurs Beyond the Holler. And reach out to us. You can private message us on Facebook. I'm sure you can find my phone number all over our Facebook page if you want to text me. But hey, private messages will probably work. I appreciate everyone out there. Chris and Chase, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And we're going to be signing off here. I appreciate everyone out there tuning in and watching Long Spurs Beyond the Holla on this Wednesday evening.